Hi everyone, my name is Mark Moikins from Big Mountain Studio, and in this next tutorial, this is the last part of the swiping tutorial, simulating like a Tinder card, and we're going to be scaling the card down a little bit as you start to go off the screen. So it gives it a better user experience of watching this card start to swipe off and go away. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this next tutorial. Okay, so one last thing I want to teach you, and this is the bonus content, is what if you want it to get smaller as you go off to the sides? Now here's something else that I did. Not only do I make it smaller, but I don't change the size until, when I'm in the center, I keep the size as it is. It only starts to get smaller as I get 100 from the center. So this screen, I think it's like 300 and something, 340. I forget how wide this screen is. But as you start to go 100 out, then I want it to start to get smaller, smaller, smaller. Maybe from like this point right here. I don't know if that's 100 from the center. So that's what we want to do. When we get over 100 from the center, start making it smaller. All right, let's take a look at one possible way that we can do this. Now what we want to do is when you want to apply two transforms to the same object, I can't do this. I can't say, what I need to do is apply a scaling, because scale it to make it smaller, right? So I can't do this and then do a scale, because what's going to happen is it's just going to replace this transform with this transform. It's going to replace the rotation with the scale. So what I need to do is I need to do two transforms at the same time. And basically what you can do is, let's get rid of this line. If you hit dot, you'll notice that you'll get the same functions again. You can rotate it again, you can add more rotation to it, you can scale it, and you can translate it again, which means you can move it to a new position. So what I want to do is I want to scale it. This is another good way to be able to compound transforms. Okay, now I don't know what my scale is going to be yet. And that, again, is going to be dynamic. And as you probably guessed, I'm going to use X from center to come up with a scale. So for the scale, I'm just going to create a variable, and I'll call it scale. Okay, what I'm going to do is, when you scale something, let me just show you real quick right here. If I do that, if I scale something 1x and 1y, it's not going to change the size. Anything above 1 will make it larger, and anything below 1 will make it smaller. We want to make it smaller. So we know that we want at least a 1 or a smaller number. So take a look at this formula that I'm going to write here. 100, I'm using the number 100 because I only want it to get smaller once I'm 100 points from the center. So 100 divided by x from center. From the center, if I start dragging it to the right, and if I'm at 50, 100 divided by 50 will give me a 2. Well, that'll make it larger, right? Well, I don't want it to be larger. I want it to be, it can't be any greater than 1. So 2 will make it 2 times as big. So what I need here is, I need a minimum. There's a math function called minimum. And it basically, you just pass in 2 numbers, and it'll take the smallest of the 2. So if this is 50, or basically anything below 100 will give me a number larger than 1. But once I start to reach like 200, then it's going to give me a 0.5. So, and 0.5 is smaller than 1, so it's going to use 0.5 here instead. And that means it makes it half as big as it originally was. So I want to do something like this. Now another thing too, remember this x from center, that can be a positive or a negative number. Well, so what we want to do is we want to keep it as positive, and so I'm just going to use an absolute value of it. Remember we used that earlier? Whoops. So that'll basically just turn any value into a positive number. And then we want to use the scale right here. So again, if I'm less than 100 from the center, this is going to be a larger number than 1. So we're going to just keep it the same size by scaling it by 1. And once I go over 100, this number will start to get smaller and smaller, and I'll be applying that to the scale, and it will start to make the object smaller and smaller as I go past 100. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, go past 100. So it must be right here, because you notice at this point it starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it goes off. And on this side, it starts to get smaller and smaller until it goes off. And there you go. So that's how you make it smaller as it goes off. All right, guys. I know this is a long tutorial, but I taught you a lot of things here. And as well as just, dragging something off the sides of the screen. I taught you some transforms, how to add a rotation transform to it, how to make it smaller as you go off. You learned about the pan gesture recognizer. So I hope all these things will help you in your future projects. And again, if you know of a better way or a more efficient way, I'm always looking for more efficient ways of doing things because I want to teach the simplest, most efficient ways to you guys. And I might not know them. I do some research, and you guys are, all my viewers are really smart. So if you guys find any way that I can improve this code that'll help out the rest of the viewers, feel free to leave a comment below and we can all learn from each other. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you think any of your friends would like to know this information that you learned today, then go ahead and share with them down below. And consider subscribing because I keep coming out with more fun tutorials like this. I'm really interested in UI and user experience. So most of my videos will most likely be around user experience and user interface and how to improve those. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.